Hey St. Catharines, it's Mayor Matt Cisco. Welcome to another episode of talkSTC. We are right into September now. I want to first give a congratulations and a shout out to my friends in Meriton. Christmas in Meriton, the Labor Day Parade, another successful year for them. Also a reminder to all those in our community, as we are getting back into the school season, the swing of things, there are young kids out on the road. So a reminder, take it easy. Let's make sure that we're allowing all of our young people in St. Catharines to get back to school and back to the excitement of learning and all the good stuff that comes along with the new school year. Make sure that you are keeping your eyes peeled when you're out on the road. Some of those little ones are also new to the whole going to school thing, and we want to make sure they're safe and sound as they get into the new school year. Exciting episode today. A couple of things we get to discuss. One of my favorite topics, economic development in St. Catharines. This is one of the things I have made a major priority for my time as mayor. I want to make sure that we're moving our community forward. There's a lot of amazing stuff that's happening in our city. So today's guests talking a little bit about different aspects of what economic development looks like in St. Catharines. We have two amazing guests, or two sets of guests for us today. First up will be Dorian Anderson, the Executive Director of the Niagara Grape Wine Festival, to talk about all of the great events that are coming forward and planned in our backyard over the month of September. And then after that, we're going to talk to Marko, Juricic, and Claudia Salgado of Brooklyn Construction. They're the building partner for Elite Developments, and they will be talking about all of the projects that Elite is bringing to our city. But my first guest is Dorian Anderson. She is the Executive Director of the Niagara Grape Wine Festival. Dorian, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Great to see you.
Now, I'm going to do the bio piece.
Sure.
You are Niagara born and bred, a proud graduate of Sir Winston Churchill.
Yes.
Go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs.
There we go. You're a mom of twin 12-year-old boys.
I am.
I can only imagine what twins are like.
They just turned 12, so yeah.
Now, you grew up watching, loving grape and wine. You remember sitting on the curb watching the parade go by?
We still have some photos, actually, yeah. I remember vividly.
Did you have a key location where you would camp out? Was it the same spot every year, or?
100%. We were always on James Street, across from 63 James, sort of on the way towards Lake Street.
Okay, so we're a Queen Street and Church family.
Yep.
That's where we like to be, always in the same spot. You're a foodie?
I'm definitely a foodie.
A wine researcher?
Well, yeah, that's my way of saying I like to try a reasonable amount of wines, but making it sound a little classier.
I did the air quotes thing for that.
Yeah.
Now, you joined Grape and Wine Festival in the fall of 2017?
I did, yes. Like, they were smart enough to bring me on to see the behind-the-scenes part of the festival before Kimberly moved to BC. So
excellent. Mm-hmm. And so, but you've been in events and experiential marketing for a long time.
For a longer time than I like to admit, actually.
Okay,
yes.
fair enough.
Yeah, at least 20 years.
And so you've been in the wine industry event sector since 2008, though. You led the International Cool Climate Chardonnay Celebration. Mm-hmm. That's IC4. That's
I4C.
I4C, thank you.
Yes.
Grazed the Bench, 20 Valley Winter Wine Fest, the Wine Country Run, and the Niagara Integrated Film Festival.
That's correct.
So you've got a lot of experience in and around Niagara.
I do.
Well, I'm glad you're here today. We're going to talk about grape and wine.
Perfect.
Okay, so you grew up with grape and wine.
I grew up with grape and wine. Yeah, I lovingly remember Mr. Grape. That ages me a little bit, but I remember wearing all purple. I remember at school we used to do coloring pages and everything to get ready for it, decorating my room in purple, so it's in my blood.
So how's it changed over the years? Like, what's different now, and what can people expect that's the same in the past, but what's different?
Well, one of the cool things about being in our office in downtown is we actually found event programs from the 70s. So way back then, and I'm not going to, yes, I was born in the 70s, but it was a huge community festival. So there was events at Club Roma, there was events kind of all over the Niagara region. That evolved a little bit more into the Grape and Wine Festival Association hosting large events and welcoming the community to centralized locations. So the parade has always been a huge part of the community celebration. And then Montebello Park kind of became the hub. What I think has changed specifically over the last 5 years is we're keeping the beloved community festival side of things. So we have the family fun zone and we've got the Pied Piper parade. But the wine industry's changed a lot. And a lot of people are looking for actual wine experiences. or they're looking for something a little swanky and fancy sometimes. So we've added in some very cool wine lounges. We introduced cocktails last year for the first time ever in the park. We have a food and wine marquee area this year. So every year we kind of keep adding more and more things for people that are foodies like I am, or that want to actually like taste a large variety of wines or learn about them. They can do that right in downtown St. Catharines.
That's, I think, phenomenal, and I think it showcases a lot more to our region than just, I mean, obviously well known for wines, but being able to bring focus on different aspects as well, I think is a really great opportunity for the city and Niagara as a whole through the wine festival. Now, if guests are there for the wine, and we know a lot of people show up for the wine, they want to learn more about wine, what can they do at Grape and Wine to have that discovery aspect?
Well, one of the cool things is we have over 100 different wines that are poured in Montebello Park, believe it or not.
Yep.
So if you think about it, if you have a limited amount of time, rather than having to travel all over wine country, you can go to Montebello Park. There's 25 wineries that are going to have wines available to taste. So you can go and talk to any of the volunteers in the Harvest Lounge. We have a couple other wine lounges as well, and they're all trained wine people.
Okay.
Same thing with the winery staff at the pouring booth. So you can go up and say, I know nothing about wine. I like things that are a little sweeter. They can help you find a wine that you're going to like. Or if you know quite a bit about wine, the team specifically in the Harvest Lounge, we have a few sommeliers on staff, and they can kind of walk you through some unexpected things or can kind of like profile a wine specifically for you. We actually have Robbie from Archive Wine and Spirits is going to be creating the Archive Wine Bar in the old band shell. So he's going to be bringing some really interesting wines, which we know is Robbie's forte of sourcing and finding these amazing things.
Yep.
And so that's going to be a space where we have an expert of, I almost call him a wine detective because he finds amazing things. They'll all be 100% Niagara, of course, but Robbie loves to chat about interesting wines, so he'll be there too.
That's awesome. So a lot of educational opportunities
Yes.
for people. Now, the In Good Spirits Lounge. Tell me a bit about this. Tell me what this is.
So this started last year for the first time. So consumers are looking for different things. As much as we're so proud of the wine region, and that's the reason for the festival is to celebrate the amazing wines we make, cocktails have really taken off over the last few years. So we thought we would have a little bit of fun with making wine-based cocktails. But we have to stick with the grape and wine theme. So all of the spirits that we pair are also made from 100% Niagara grapes.
Okay.
So Dillon's, Niagara College, and Taw's all make spirits that are made from 100% grapes. So we just got really creative with some of our friends that are mixologists, and we created 4 different cocktails last year, and they were huge sellers. Like the Montebello Sour was the top selling item in the park.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, so they're absolutely delicious, and it's a bit of a refreshing change if you want something, you've tasted through a few wines and you want something to kind of quench your thirst. Cocktails are a great way to do it.
All right. So, I mean, I think one of the biggest sellers for the festival is that admission's free, right?
Yes.
But if there are folks in the community that are looking for a little bit swankier experience, maybe they want to level up a little bit, what sort of options exist?
So that was something, I'm getting a little older. So one of the things I thought would be a kind of a nice thing is to create some of these spaces where you can get away a little bit from the noise or the crowd, but still feel like you're part of it. So the Harvest Lounge has been in existence for quite a while. It's this awesome lounge space in the 100-year-old pavilion. It overlooks the main stage and the whole park. But it has harvest tables. It's got great lounge sets. And a bar that's got wines specifically for that Harvest Lounge that are maybe a little bit more premium. So that's the first stop. Second, though, we introduced last year were the VIP cabanas. So these are glamping tents that are situated right in the park with the view of the stage. Each one's decorated and fitted. It can seat 8 guests. Mm-hmm. It includes a couple bottles of wine, and you have your own wine butler. So you can just sort of sit around in your glamping tent and say, "Excuse me, Paul, can you please bring the wine list?" And then Paul or one of his team will go and get you a bottle of wine and deliver it to your tent.
It sounds like a heck of an experience.
It's super fun.
So I'm going to throw a tough question at you.
Okay.
So I'm a non-drinker.
Yes.
Okay. Now, for folks like me, grape and wine is a little bit different. How do folks who aren't drinkers enjoy grape and wine?
Well, you're not alone, and you're part of a very fast-growing trend. Low alcohol or no alcohol drinks is a really popular thing. So we have a couple different things in the park. We have 416 Coffee is going to be set up, so there's going to be a little cafe this year.
Excellent.
We're also working, we're finalizing a couple of programs to have non-alcoholic cocktails set up. And we also have a lot of really great food programming. So we have 15 different food vendors that are there. We have a food and wine marquee where you can actually do cooking classes where they can be paired with wine, but also with non-alcoholic cocktails as well. So we're really going to be focusing on this group because we know not everybody wants to sit in the park and drink wine all day, or maybe just want something more interesting than a glass of water. So we're working on that.
And I will say, I actually knew the answer to that question before I asked it. The food choices are always awesome.
Yes.
Like, there's always multiple amazing things to try. I know I've discovered a couple of restaurants that I wasn't aware of before the wine festival, so that option's always been there. But the addition of the non-alcoholic drinks, I will say 416 Coffee on point. Yep. Very well done, good choice.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's an enjoyable event for everybody, regardless of whether you indulge in wine or any of the spirits that might be around or not. So kudos to you for recognizing that and building some programming out around it. This festival's been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. Why is it important to Niagara?
Well, there's a few reasons. I mean, first of all, it's a homecoming. It's kind of Niagara's official homecoming, regardless of what high school or college or university you went to. Go Bulldogs. But it is a reason that, a lot of people that have left Niagara come back every year. And Parade Saturday is that day, primarily for people. So that's kind of a nice reason to have like that one solid event every single year that you're going to be seeing friends and family. It has a huge economic impact on the community. We see about 50,000 people through Montebello Park. We have another 40 to 50 that line the streets to see the parade, and then another 15 or 20,000 that are out in Niagara at the wineries and shopping. So the economic impact of that tourism dollars and the spending, especially for downtown, is fantastic. And we work with those partners to try to promote their businesses and through our events calendar, try to really get people to get out and enjoy the city while they're there. But I think one of the big things for me is when I travel the world, you see all of these other wine regions, and you go in restaurants and the wine lists are 100% from that region. Mm-hmm. Like not even France. It's like, if you're in Burgundy, you're only drinking Burgundian wines. And it's something we kind of miss here in Canada, not just Niagara, is that sense of pride in what it is that we are actually producing. So I think Grape and Wine is a time, again, where we can kind of look at how far we've come in 20 years. Like, we have wines that are winning international wine awards, not infrequently. Like, every single year, it seems we have these wines. So we want to make sure that, as Niagarans, we're very, very proud of this industry that supports a lot of people in the community.
Yeah, 100%. And I love, the city's been a proud supporter for exactly the reason you described, the economic development opportunities that are there, the impact that it has on the community from mm-hmm. this month full of events, and then the events that you run, frankly, throughout the year.
Yeah.
All of it's important and a good reminder of just how far the wine in Niagara has come, and the fact that this is one of the premier wine regions across the globe right mm-hmm. now. I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Okay.
Grape and Wine Parade. And I'm glad you described it as a homecoming because that's exactly how I've always sort of seen it. It's like the homecoming for all of St. Catharines. Do you have a favorite float?
Ooh.
We debate this in my house all the time about our favorites. Whether it's PK Hummingbird or... I'm a big fan of the bagpipes.
Yeah.
So all of the pipes that come through, I always enjoy that. You must have a favorite. Are you willing to say it though, as the executive director, or do you just want to highlight a few good ones?
I'm going to highlight a few good ones.
Yeah, that's the politically safe move.
Yeah. I'm not going for your job ever, but I still don't want to make that
good
call.
Good call.
So I would say steel drum bands since I was a little kid, I've loved steel drum bands. So that's kind of the one thing when I'm talking to the parade team, we need steel drum bands. I love a good drum line, even if it's the Laura Secord Junk Band.
Yep.
They did an amazing drum lines with, plastic. And then I think, one school that always brings it, Niagara College.
Yes.
I actually watched their float, if you notice, bounces the entire way because they dance so hard that they actually make it bounce. And I think that's pretty awesome too.
I will say I'm contractually obligated via my marriage to a former valedictorian of Laura Secord to shout out the Laura Secord Junk Band.
They're awesome.
So go Patriots. Dorian, thank you so much for coming out today.
It's been great to see you.
Sincerely appreciate this. Looking forward to a month full of events. And yeah, thank you for being on the talkSTC.
Anytime, my pleasure.
Excellent. After the break, we are going to be talking to Claudia and Marko from Brooklyn Construction. Stay tuned right on the other side for a little bit more talkSTC. Welcome back, St. Catharines. My next guests are Marko Juricic and Claudia Salgado of Brooklyn Construction. They are the building partners for Elite Developments, and they're here to talk about the new and exciting projects that Elite is bringing to our city. Marko, Claudia, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So I'm going to do the uncomfortable part now, talk about you and just your bios. Marko, you're the president of Brooklyn Construction. 24 years of experience in construction project management within the residential, commercial, industrial, educational, and institutional sectors. Yes. That's a lot of work. Civil engineering technology program along with a business admin program at the University of Windsor. Responsible for overseeing the pre-construction projects from conception to completion and their activities. Yes. And you have a proven track record of delivering successful mid-rise, high-rise, and commercial projects under tight deadlines and budgets with excellent quality standards. I have to think that the tight deadlines and budgets is the part that makes people really happy.
It does, yes.
Claudia, you are the Vice President of Brooklyn Construction. You're responsible for overseeing all aspects of the development, the design, and the construction process.
Correct.
Your career, so you're looking at architecture, construction, and experience with teams across North America and the United Kingdom.
Exactly.
And your focus is premium residential projects, which is what we're looking forward to in downtown St. Catharines. Multiple architecture degrees, including a Bachelor of Architecture, professional degree from Lawrence Institute of Technology, and a post-grad degree in design from the same university, as well as a master's degree in dementia studies from the University of Stirling, and a PhD in sociology and architecture. You love educating yourself.
I am a bookworm.
You are a person after my own heart then. I love that. So listen, Brooklyn has been partnered with Elite Developments in downtown St. Catharines. Very exciting project going on right across the street from my office. Tell me a little bit, what caused you to choose St. Catharines as the location for your developments?
I can answer that. So when we were looking at St. Catharines, the way it's situated close to the border with the United States, Niagara Falls, close proximity to Hamilton, and then of course to the GTA, and specifically the downtown core. St. Catharines is growing. There's a large student body here, nearly 20,000 people. So when we were targeting a site, we're looking for an efficient site, something that's close to downtown that everybody could take advantage of. So with this building, the students being in the area, it's also good for investors and of course end users.
Yeah, and that's, you keyed in on a couple of competitive advantages I like to say that we have in St. Catharines, just our location, large student population, and a downtown that I think is really ready for much greater increased density. And this project seems to hit on all of those key facets, which is phenomenal. So with respect to St. Catharines' growth, what's been the most attractive piece for Elite in Brooklyn to be there?
I'll take that. I think that looking at the robust plans you have for improving your infrastructure, be it rail, be it even hovercraft, everything's being explored. I think that we truly believe that one of the positive things that came out of the pandemic, if anything, was that people rediscovered the need for quality of life. Yep. They are now able to, many people have hybrid job positions that allows them to have that freedom to choose life quality over employment, right? And combine both of them. So St. Catharines is clearly becoming the urban center of the Niagara Falls region. And for us, it was a natural location. The infrastructure coming down the pipeline, ability of us to connect and have support like yours and your staff. So we thought it's a welcoming location for us to densify.
And that's music to my ears. I love it when people tell me those things, especially about working with the staff at City Hall. I know your project has been, our staff have been equally complimentary. Just talking about how great it's been to work with professionals at Brooklyn and Elite, moving this project forward very quickly. And I mean, we can see the fruits of that now with the project having begun, right? Taking down the buildings that are there and preparing for the construction. What other upcoming projects can you share with us that are going to happen in St. Catharines and around St. Catharines that you're involved with?
Well, I can speak quickly. So let's talk about the one downtown. So 88 James is going to have 276 units, 181 parking spots. It's a 30-story tower, one level below grade. We also have nearly 11,000 square feet of commercial, and we plan to have a restaurant, hopefully replacing Gord's. It was very popular. We just recently demoed the building, saved the sign.
Yep.
And so it's very nostalgic. It was a great location. Plan to have something like that, a coffee shop. So that's very big for us. And we're planning on investing nearly $500 million, Elite in Brooklyn, into St. Catharines. So that's a big number. And along with that, 4th Avenue next to the hospital.
Yep.
Very big complex there, multiple buildings, townhome development, commercial, mixed use. Also, we have Queenston and Vine. We have another development there, and on Niagara Street. And there's more to come.
That's phenomenal to hear. And I think, as a residential developer, obviously, there's a lot of desire for these services in all the municipalities. So to know that you've chosen St. Catharines, you have a number of different projects on the go, and to see the actual work taking place across the street from City Hall, I think is an amazing, it's a tangible example of work being done, but it's also a great symbol of what we're trying to accomplish in the city. Now, with that said, you're talking about a development in the downtown, which is going to look and feel very different. So how are you going about integrating it into the neighborhood so that it's harmonious with all the other pieces that are there?
I think that's where it becomes critical to have the support and guidance from staff. I think that from the beginning we have consulted, we've listened to what they know. They know the area much better than we do. So they are able to walk us through how they see community needs. They prompt public consultation. For 88 James, we've been very successful in engaging the public. So it's not working only with staff, it's also engaging the public. The development process does prompt that communication with your residents, with people that are actually going to be using the space. And I think that this is where, our knowledge of sociology, of architecture, how it comes together in a development is also very, very valuable, because we look at every site as an opportunity to build a placemaking where people will be engaging. 88 James in particular, we're extremely fortunate that we're right at the city center, the civic square hub. The public library, gardens, we're going to enhance, to Marko's point. We're bringing in ability for leisure, we're bringing in commercial spaces. So that's going to activate the pedestrian experience as much as the residential experience.
And having seen your plans and your designs, I will say one of the things that I'm most impressed with, and this is very normal in municipal circles, whenever we have new developments coming on stream, everybody wants to talk about parking. And it seems to be the number one question, the number one concern. In your development, you're utilizing some underground parking, you're also using a podium, but you're designing it in such a way that I think it's going to fit very uniquely into the local context, and it's not going to feel like a parking garage. It actually fits in with everything else that's being done in the downtown. Has that been something that Brooklyn has been engaged with in other projects? It seems like something you would have to develop along the way, because in the past, when we've seen other developments, it hasn't always been that beautiful looking. But in this case, you've managed to make it look beautiful, which frankly I'm impressed with, because I've seen some examples in other communities of older developments that don't have that. How does that come about over time?
So in municipalities that allow it, like yours, it's great to have, right? Going down is quite costly. It prohibits developers and builders from entering the market once you're commanded, I guess, to go below grade. So you're one of the communities that allow above grade parking, but what we try to do, the front facade along James, we integrate it so you can't see at all any parking. It's all commercial or podium with the tower above. In the back, we decorate the building, so to your point, it doesn't look like a parking garage, and it's not intruding on the community.
Well, and I'm excited with your development, because I think it's an opportunity for us to showcase this, because it's something that people have had concerns about in the past, but we know now underground parking is so prohibitively expensive. And one of the problems we run into with developments is, people come forward and they're told, well, the community doesn't want above ground and below ground is too little or is too expensive. And they say, well, then we need a reduction. You manage to straddle both worlds, and you have some below ground but above grade as well that fits in with the neighborhood. Nobody's going to have complaints for that. And so now you don't have to jump through those hoops. So I will simply say kudos, because I'm going to point to that building every time I need to explain to people why the podium, if it's done properly, is a great path forward for additional residential development.
Absolutely, and I'd like to add that it shows also future and very future thinking from staff. Because to Marko's point, we have tried with other municipalities that they have a very firm position. Nevertheless, it is coming down for us to be carbon neutral.
Yep.
And that is going to be a huge contribution, because there will be a day, and we may think right now, well, it's going to be years, but there will be a day that we will not use cars as we use them.
Yep.
And having an above grade podium that looks beautiful gives you the future flexibility of one day converting that into commercial space, into office space. So it's a win-win from a development perspective and from a city perspective, and future-proofing the use of the building.
I love it. I'm going to give you a chance as we close up, a chance to toot your own horn. Competitive nature of real estate and construction right now, especially in Ontario. What sets Elite and Brooklyn Construction apart from other developers and builders in the region?
I think we focus on quality and then of course location, right? Being in the downtown core of this municipality specifically is a huge win. And that's what sets us apart. The Elite purchasing staff who look for property really target cities that are growing, that have a diverse community, students, downtown core. So I think that's what separates the development side. Construction, we work very closely with our consultants, our sub-trades. We try to use local sub-trades because they understand the community and they understand the needs and wants. So all those things I think sets us apart.
Excellent. Claudia, Marko, thank you so much for coming in. I'm glad we were able to highlight this. As I have said repeatedly, I am so excited about this build right across the street. I get to watch it go up, and I'm excited for that. But thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us today.
And
Thank you,
for
Mayor.
having us.
Thank you for having us.
Definitely.
Thank you.
We will be back right after this with a little bit more Talk STC. St. Catharines, thank you so much for tuning in to Talk STC. Thank you to Dorian Anderson from the Grape Wine Festival. Thank you to Claudia, Salgado, and Marko Juricic from Brooklyn Construction. Looking forward to see you on the next episode of Talk STC right here on your TV.